Spending time learning how to adjust type is one of the most overlooked and also fundamental aspects in your growth if you want to take your web design skills to the next level. Stay with me as I explain the 15 rules that I use in every project so that you can take your design skills to the next level. Let's go. Hello my friend and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, I'm Adrian Somoza and I focus on teaching advanced freelancing and web design skills. So if you're new, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications to stay up to date with my latest videos. Okay, let's jump straight to it. So here I have some slides that I'm going to be sharing with you, and I'm going to be walking you through these principles one by one. Let's talk about paragraphs. The longer the paragraph, the tighter the line height, and vice versa. So let's take a look at these three examples. Let's say that we have here a medium-sized paragraph, right? The line height here is probably going to be, for example, for 16 pixels, I used 24 pixels of line height. That means it's multiplying the main number by 1.5. So 50% more. Now, when we do a longer paragraph like this one, we will need a little bit more line height. So the longer the paragraph, the more the line height. The smaller the paragraph, you will see that it's a little bit less than 50%. So you want to adjust the line height depending on the size or the width of each paragraph. Granted, in responsive design, it's difficult to have full control over this, but I am a very big fan of doing like fixed sizes as much as possible, right? And we're gonna take a look at some more tips about paragraphs later on. But for now, that's a general rule of thumb. The longer the paragraph, the tighter the line height, and vice versa. Now, when designing long pieces of text, like a blog post, for example, every line should fit around 30 to 50 words per line. Again, when it comes to responsive, that's difficult to maintain, but in general, you want to avoid having too long paragraphs. So you can set a maximum width for paragraphs, especially when we have longer piece of text like a blog post, for example. You want to set a maximum width to that paragraph so that it doesn't span more than 30 to 15 words per line. Now, this is ideal, right? 13 to 15. When we're doing or talking about shorter paragraphs, that is possible, right? And I use them quite a lot, especially when they are a small amount of text or when they are like a side note, right? But make sure that you use this with caution because it's also a little bit more difficult to read. So make sure that you try to contain paragraphs in 13 to 15 words, ideally, and then shorter if needed, but with caution and with smaller pieces of text. Next rule: the bigger the size, the tighter the spacing, and vice versa. The bigger the size, the tighter the spacing, and vice versa. So take a look at this, right? 16 pixels, 48, and 96. The bigger the size, the tighter the spacing. So 0% for paragraphs, minus 2% letter spacing for this 48 pixels, and minus 4% letter spacing for 96 pixels. So the bigger the size, the tighter the letter spacing. If we go smaller than 16, you probably want to add a little bit more letter spacing, right? Above 0%, so 1% maybe or 2%. Now the next rule is that the bolder the typeface, the tighter the spacing, and vice versa. So let's take a look. We have a Work Sans thin here, so a thin typeface, and we have -2 letter spacing. In the same size, right, we have a Helvetica regular, so it's a little bit bolder, and we need to do like a -4 letter spacing. And then we have Maelstrom regular, right? And I'm showing you with different typefaces so that you can really see that there's a wide spectrum, right? It could be that the typeface is bold in itself, like this Maelstrom, as far as I know, doesn't have like a lot of weights. It just has regular weight, but it's a bold typeface in itself, like by design. And so the letter spacing here is 0. So 0 letter spacing for this, bold typeface. So the chunkier the characters, the less space you will want to have between them so that they don't separate from each other, and you can read them as a word, right? They can be, tight enough so that they read as a word, and you can read word by word and not character by character, because they have like more visual weight. Okay. Typefaces have adjusted letter spacings for the default sizes the typeface is supposed to be used in. So for example, Maelstrom is a display typeface. So it is designed to be used in big sizes, like for example 144 pixels. So in 144 pixels, Maelstrom doesn't need any adjustment, like I told you, but Helvetica will need adjustment at this size, but won't need adjustment at for like 12 to 16 pixels, for example, because it was designed to be mostly used at that size. Next rule: characters should not overlap. So when I started, I have to confess, I was a fan of doing this, overlaps between characters, especially right when you find things like this, like the I and the T that connect, and I was like, that's so smart, right? But the truth is that, especially when we're designing like longer pieces of text or systems, right, where a title has to work in different with different content, right, and it's dynamic, it's very difficult to make it work if you're just making it too tight, right? So you might find like a smart encounter between two letters like I and T, but that's just one case, right? But what about all the other characters? Plus, when you overlap the characters, they lose legibility. The words lose legibility. So it's a no-no. Basically, don't do this. Next rule: look out for ascendants and descendants when adjusting line heights in your text. So for example, let's say that we have this title. It says Blanitron or Blanitron quiz in, right? And we could set this line height to 64 pixels here, and it wouldn't hurt, right? So let's see what happens if we do that, right? And it wouldn't hurt, right? It works well. There's no clashes between characters. That looks okay to me. Now, the problem with this is that if we add a character that has a descendant and it's on top of a character that has an ascendant, then a clash might happen like this. And so this is something that you have to bear in mind if the content is going to be dynamic, and make sure that you're contemplating ascendants and descendants in your designs. So in that case, right, if you know that the content is going to be dynamic, you would probably have to do 72 and 72. So sorry here. 72 works fine, right? Even 72 and 76, for example. But if you know that this is going to be fixed, that it's not going to change, that the content is not going to change, and you want to take the luxury, right, to just adjust the line height a little bit more, that's okay too. But you have to know that that won't change, at least for a long time, so that you can take the luxury to do that tighter line height. Next rule: adjusting a typeface is all about composition. So pay special attention to the Gestalt loss of perception, and I talk more about that in this video, so take a look at that if you want. But basically, right, in this case, we have less space between each character here, so 20, than we have here between each line, right? So 22 here and 20 between each character. Now, what would happen if we decreased this, right? So let's say that this is very exaggerated. So now, right, this is being grouped as one thing instead of this, right? These two characters, because of the proximity principle of Gestalt. So take a look at the video if you don't understand what I'm talking about. But the characters clash and they start to be grouped in a weird way. So you don't want to do that, right? You want to avoid that. So make sure that you pay attention to the Gestalt laws of perception, and make sure that you are thinking in composition terms, right? So that the text is read and perceived the way you want it to be perceived. Now, next rule, let's talk about paragraphs, right? And rags. A good rag is a rag that's smooth in its curves, and a bad rag is a rag that has pronounced curves. So as much as you can, right? Because web, again, in responsive and fluid text, sometimes it's difficult, but as much as you can, and you have the possibility to, try to control, how text flows in your paragraphs so that it flows as smoothly as possible with your rags. Now, what about rags in titles? In titles, there's more control over, what word falls in what line, and that's something that you can control in web. So you can pay attention to rags, especially in your titles, right? Try to avoid pronounced curves like this and try to make them smoother like this. Now, sometimes you will need to use manual line breaks to achieve this. So use them only for short pieces of text, like 3 to 5 words, as they are difficult to control on responsive, but it can be an option and it's a valid option. Next rule. Avoid eliminating the rag when combining hierarchies. So let's say that you break, a line of text into 2 hierarchies, like established in 2011. So try to avoid eliminating the rag and matching the width of both hierarchies, right? Like this. And on the contrary, try to let the rag free, because that also helps visually to cut one piece of text from the next, and it creates dynamism in the composition. The more contrast you have when changing hierarchies, the better for the result, the visual result. So try to avoid these square compositions that are kind of boring to read. And another option is to try to make it match, or control the rag, but with the length of the paragraph. So instead of saying here established, right, and just making it like this, which would be super long, I used an abbreviation of established, which is est dot, and that makes it coincide with the rag. So that's another way that you can just control the rag, but with changing the content. Next rule, give yourself some freedom to play with different styles too. So for example, here I played with a 50% letter spacing, and it kind of gives like a more, we could say premium style, or more futuristic if you want as well. Now, this is something that you can play around with, right? If you like to increase the line height, decrease the line height so that things overlap, and that could be like a grunge style, right? If you want to do that, you can do that. Design, like David Carson said, we often mistake legibility with communication. So it's true, sometimes we can prioritize communication over legibility and create some kind of style that conveys or communicates much better than maybe if we just set it on a default style, right? So give yourself a little bit of freedom as well to play around. Now let's talk about the next rule, and these ones are typographic crimes that we want to avoid, okay? So first off, widows and orphans. Try to avoid leaving orphans like this one, which is a word left in the next column, right? So this non-word should be in the previous column. And then avoid widows, right? Widows are a lonely word in a line. So try to avoid widows as well. So sometimes what we do is we kind of push another word, right, from a previous line so that there's not just a widow like that. Next, don't stretch or shrink your type. Never do this. It's not cool. Easy. Next rule, incorrect character usage. So learn and use the correct characters for things like punctuation marks and mathematical operations. For example, use the curly quotation mark, like this one, to open and close a quote, and not the dummy quotes, the straight ones. Luckily, Figma and other design programs recognize the beginning and ending of a quote and include the right quotation marks for you. But try to avoid them if you realize that you don't see those curly quotation marks. Also, the actual character for a multiplication, not the letter X, right? So I used to use just the letter X here, and then I found out that there's a special character for it. So if the designer designed that character in particular, why not use it, right? So you can go to math, for example, and you have all the characters here that are for mathematical operations, and you can use the correct one. You can just copy paste it from a site like copycar.cc. Now, for further reading, right, if you want to go deeper into mastering the art of typesetting, you can read The Elements of Typographic Style by Robert Brinkhurst. And I think it's a must read if you are serious about learning everything about typesetting. It could take me ages to explain all the little things that you can do with type, right? The correct way of using a typeface. So things like the mathematical operation and the quotation mark, there's tons of those in this book. So make sure that you read it, right? And you can, with this, you can go really in depth into the usage of each typeface and really pay attention to the details. Like Eames said, the details are not the details, they make the design. So take all of these type details very seriously if you want to be a pro web designer, okay? Typography is the most fundamental element in your composition because it's what communicates the message, right? It's what delivers the message. So you could have a whole website done with just typography and it would work perfectly well. In fact, there's a lot of examples of that. So make sure you pay attention to every one of these rules, watch the video again, take notes, and more importantly, start implementing these rules in your websites today. That's it, my friend. To not miss any of my free content, make sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. The link is going to be in the description. And if you're finding my content valuable, imagine learning alongside me and other like-minded web designers who can inspire, encourage, and help you on your journey. The BONT Club is my signature mentorship program, so not just an online course, but a mentorship program that goes beyond just taking your web design skills to an advanced level. It's about learning how to turn those skills into a paycheck so that you can have the freedom to do more of what you love. So if you're ready to join us, then click the link below to apply or check my website to learn more about it. The information is in the description. That's it for today's video. Hope you found it valuable, and as always, let's bridge the gap one typography rule at a time. Watch this video next to keep learning about type.